Hello, welcome to Introduction to Python course. My name is Danish and I will be your instructor throughout this course. Right now, I'm working as a programming instructor at Dufico Education, as well as I've done my master's in data science and also working as a machine learning engineer in Dufico Consulting. A little bit about the course, how we are going to take this course. So every video would be of 15 minutes, and then at the end of the video we would be having a 10-minute exercise. So let's move towards what is Python. So Python is a programming language that was created by this person, and it was released in 1991. So if you look at the current use, so Python is mainly used as a web programming. So in the web programming, it's mainly on the backend side, the server side of the context. And moving towards the software development part, so Python is mainly used in the software development sides, and most of the time the expertise or the functionalities that Python have is mainly because of its flexibility in mathematics. So we can do some really advanced stuff of statistics and other mathematics stuff in Python. So that's why it's somehow really preferable in the domains like data science. And Python is also being used in the system scripting side also. Now what can we really do with Python? So if we talk about what is the real power of Python, so right now we are creating some server side of web applications here, and then Python is also used to create workflow of the softwares, and it's mainly is somehow a connection between the backend of the website and the front end of the website. So it's like a connection between the database and the front end. So it's somehow used in modifying the website, moving towards the more responsiveness of the website. Then also Python, as I've told you before, it's mainly used in big data stuff, and that is the main thing that Python is somehow in the market right now. And as well as we have been doing some really complex mathematics in this because of the power of the statistics that it's really have. And then Python is also used as a rapid prototyping stuff, so we can really draw some amazing prototypes of the software development cycle. Then we know, I mean, like, what Python can do. But what is Python? I mean, like, why Python? Why we have to prefer it as compared to the other languages like C++ or like C# or like Java and other languages? So in terms of Python, I mean, if you are really into Python, and if you really want to know the reason why you are learning Python, then Python, it normally works differently, depends upon what operating system that you are using, first of all. Then Python is preferable as compared to the other languages is because Python has the simplest syntax. I mean, like, if you really want to code in this language, then that would be like super simple, super easy. And now moving towards, I mean, like, Python, it has a syntax that allows the developer to write programs. I mean, like, if you're familiar with like C++ or Java, then you know, like, if you want simply to print a statement to a screen, then in the C++, you would be writing, I mean, like 7 to 8 lines of code. And if you are doing that in stuff in Java, then that would be around like 8 to 9 lines of code. But if you are really doing that stuff in Python, then you can just simply, you have to just write this stuff. Let me like print and then my message. I mean, like, this is how a Python is super simple. So we would be using some fewer lines of code as compared to other languages. And then moving towards, I mean, like, Python run or interpreter systems, meaning that the code can be executed as soon as it is written. I mean, like, you just have to write a single line of code and then just have to press enter, and that would be like run automatically. And then, which means, like, if you are really into coding the stuff, then you would be like checking everything just after writing a single line of code. And then Python is also treated in a procedural way and object oriented way, and you are not familiar with this object oriented. So if I talk about like object oriented for now, you can say like it's a brain of a coding structure. So it's somehow a brain of coding structure. I mean, like, there are like hundreds of lines of code, and Python is giving you a flexibility to don't write that code every time. So you can just simply use that object oriented way, and you would be doing all that big stuff super easily. So for using Python, what we are really going to do, I mean, like I'm really interested in learning Python. Now what do we do? So how can I just start doing it? So you just need to have a translator to write your code. Okay, so what I normally used to prefer my students is to go for like this Anaconda Navigator, and I will tell you like how I'm going to use this one in some part of our videos. But the major thing that I personally recommend is that we would be using that Google Colab thing. Okay, and I will tell you the reason why I prefer this Google Colab over Anaconda or everything else. I don't really prefer, but I remotely use this stuff. Okay, so one more thing to keep in mind is there are different versions of Python. Okay, so Python 2 and then Python 3. We would be mostly dealing with Python 3, and you don't really have to be worried about, I mean, like what languages do I have to learn. I mean, like if I'm talking about Python, then how many types of Pythons do I have to learn? So you don't really have to be worried about that thing, because if you learn Python 3, then you would be somehow qualified enough to see what are the different things in the other versions of Python, and you can just simply get that thing. I mean, like it's super easy for now. So I've told you like these would be the two compilers that I would be using throughout this session, but I would be pursuing over Anaconda. But I mean, like nothing is like super touchy right here, so you can just use simple other environments like this Tony and then PyCharm and then NetBeam, Eclipse. Even people used to do code in these softwares also. But I mean, like if we are doing this, we are working on this Anaconda Navigator and Google Collaboratory, then let's just get familiar with it. I mean, like how we can do with it, how we can install really this Google Colab thing. So for first of all, for the Anaconda Navigator, so you just simply have to write Anaconda Navigator, and you would be having some options right here. Let me just tell my computer that I'm a human. And yep, okay, so we are good to go. So I've typed Anaconda Navigator, and then I'm just moving towards this individual edition version because I don't want to pay for it right now. And then just based upon your operating system, whatever operating system you are using, you would be having a downloadable link here. Okay, you just simply have to click this and that would be automatically downloaded on your system. Okay, so for the starter, after you download this software, you would be having this part. Okay, and for this part we would be using for our coding part, sometimes we would be using this Jupyter notebook thing, and the other and the remaining time we would be using that Spider in Anaconda. Let me just show you what the interface here, because I don't normally used to. Okay, so that part would be, so that would be the Spider interface. So where is the Spider interface right now? Let me just show you. Yep, so this is the Spider interface. That would be one of the option inside that software. Okay, so now let's just move towards our second Google Colab thing. So just simply have to type Google Colab, and whatever comes up, simply have to press the first link, and then we would be using anything. Let me just type my email really fast, and then we can just move towards the other part. I mean, like how to really use this thing. So it's just loading right now. Okay, so I'm just clicking on this option, sign in. Okay, because I really want to use this software. So now let me just type my email address really fast. Okay, so I have typed my email address right now. Okay, okay, so after adding the credentials, okay, so I'm just logged in to this link right now. So we will be just clicking on this new notebook, and then we are just good to go in coding this thing. I mean, like writing code in this thing. Okay, so let's just do the other part of the code. I'm assuming that you have Anaconda downloaded on your computer right now, and if it's not downloaded, just don't worry about it. We would be using Google Colab, because I mean, like most of you would be like not using Windows, or either you are using the MacBook thing or Ubuntu system or anything else. So Google Colab would be like super flexible for you guys. Okay, so let's just start writing the code, getting some familiarity with the code. I mean, like what is Python? I mean, like why do we need to really prefer this language over the other ones? So I mean, like if we are just comparing the syntax of this language, so Python was basically designed for the readability thing, and it somehow have some similarities between with the English language, because I've told you, if I just want to print any message to the screen, so I just really have to type this print and then brackets and then whatever the message I want the user to see. Okay, and some flexibility towards the mathematic part, and that's why we are using Python in most of the cases of data science. Okay, so even if we talk about like commands, so Python just use a new line, okay, to complete a command. As compared to the other languages, we normally use like semicolon or parentheses. I mean, like if we talk about like Java or C++, then no, these languages would be, I mean, like really aware of this thing, that we used to write a lot of brackets here, and then in terms of like these languages, every time I'm just writing a command, so I just need to have this semicolon written. Okay, so Python is just giving you the flexibility to just leave these things for now. Okay, and so Python, basically Python relies on the concept of indentation. Okay, I will be talking about it in the next video, and then some white spaces. So we used to write Python code, it has like indentation and white spaces, so it's super comfortable, super chilling for us. Okay, and then in terms of like scope, I mean, like if I'm just writing a condition, or if I'm just writing any reason or any logic for running the other part of the code, or if I just want to have any specific results from it, so I would be declaring some scopes. I mean, like if this is true, then compute this one. So then function and then classes and each and everything we would be covering throughout this course. Okay, so best of luck for your journey, and in the next video we'll start writing Python code.